So one thing I've been trying to do with some other sex researchers is try to figure out what are the kind of best practices and the things that typically work for these alternative relationships. And we've actually gathered data, survey data from about 1,200 people who are mostly in poly or open or swinger relationships. And we can kind of track what predicts relationship quality, what predicts sexual satisfaction. And so far, it looks like a couple of key things are um, sharing information about which other people you're attracted to. And that could be, which movie stars, it could be which porn stars, it could be which people in like ordinary life. Sharing that information means you get better calibrated about like who's actually a threat versus not a threat. You get a better insight into like what does my wife or husband feel attracted to, and that could actually be reassuring because you might go, oh, actually I have like 7 out of those 10 things, right? And when they show
Mm-hmm.
up in other people, he's attracted to that. I'm not that unusual. So that's reassuring. And it can also be a real bonding process where you're like, oh my God, we can share like actually intimate details, things that might be threatening or shameful.
Mm-hmm.
And then you feel like, oh my God, we have a superpower as a married couple that we can talk about stuff that 90% of married couples don't have the guts to actually share with each other.
Mm-hmm. No, I think the communication level of people that have explored that or even just again consciously crafted their monogamous relationship is so much stronger than that just drift into it. When we were expecting our first child, there was this book, it's called the fourth trimester or something, and one of the exercises it has the couple do, because they're trying to help you avoid that lack of intimacy or loss of intimacy that comes with having a giant belly and then having a newborn to take care of. And it was to create what they call the sexual buffet. And so you have your list and you don't have to share it with your partner if you don't want to, but me and my husband did because they're like, this is the whole point. And you would put down every single item that you want to do, fantasized about, turns you on that you haven't done, or turns you on that you want your partner to do more of. And I found that to be such like a fun and unique bonding experience, because there was some stuff on his list that I was like, really? Like you're into that's I didn't know. And he did the same thing. And then it's just this fun, lighthearted way to kind of rediscover each other sensually. Because I think when you're with someone, because we've been together for we're gonna be going on like 12 years, it's like you fall into this assumption that you know everything about them, and not like they're this constantly evolving creature that you need to check in on. So it was really cool, and I like highly recommend that for all couples, is to make a little sexual buffet list and then share it with your partner, because it was really cool.
Yeah, totally. And you hear these sort of horror stories from like my clinical psychologist friends, and look, they're always very careful to be like respectful of privacy and anonymity. But sometimes they'll be like, oh, I was doing therapy with this couple and they've been married like 30 years. And the guy finally came out and said, I've always had an interest in bondage and shibari and like tying people up. And the wife will be like, oh my God, for 30 years, I've been wanting you to tie me up. And there's like so much lost opportunity.
Hmm.
And then they both have regrets like, oh my God, we could have been like shibari experts by now and going to bondage conferences, and we just didn't do that. And it's tragic. And the couples therapists should be promoting couples sharing these kinds of lists and the buffets. And um, but often they're not.
Hmm.
Often they're not really helping people break through these walls of shame
Hmm.
so that they're actually honest with each other about what they like and what they don't like.
So why is that? We can marry someone, we can have children with them, they can be in the room while we deliver and they see all sorts of crazy things, but we can't talk to them about what we need in bed. Like where is that shame coming from? Especially if you're monogamous and it's let's say your wife or your husband. Like why is that so uncomfortable?
I think it's I mean, sexual shame is complicated because there's like general cultural elements where, like, you don't talk about certain things, but partly just like so kids don't have to confront it on a daily basis, right? So you like protect the kids. That's one thing. Um, a second thing though is there's just a lot of like poly shaming, slut shaming, kink shaming, where people are kind of virtue signaling, like I'm normie and vanilla and all those degenerates out there who are doing other stuff, like they're bad people. And it takes a lot of guts and a lot of courage to talk about anything that's socially stigmatized with your most like intimate partner. Because if they reject you,
Mm,
if they don't accept it, if they go, ugh, yuck, it's very deflating.
mm,
And it's so the longer you go in a relationship kind of hiding this stuff and having like a great wall where you're not really talking about what you want,
mhm,
um, the higher the risk of actually revealing it. Because the spouse might be like, not only, ooh, that's gross and disgusting, but also, oh my God, you've been having these secret fantasies for 10 years.
mhm,
That's super gross and disgusting.
mhm,
Um, and also, I think a big factor is we don't have good role models, like portrayals in movies and TV of like high functioning married couples who actually have these discussions. You
mhm,
just don't see this on screen. Um, you why? Because it's lazy screenwriting. It's so easy to create conflict between characters if they don't accept each other's like kinks or
mhm.
fantasies.